It's Nicole Heard, and I would like to welcome you to Biz Bestie TV. Tonight we're speaking to Katinka Canuck and Julie Gibbons, who are going to talk about branding, both personal and online. So it's very exciting. So I'll bring them on now and they'll introduce themselves one at a time, and then we'll get the discussion started. So if you've got any questions, please pop them in the comments and we'll discuss them. I'm so excited about our second episode. I hope you enjoy. Hello, Katinka. How are you? Hi, Julie. You're both on live. I'd like to welcome you both to Biz Bestie TV. If you could take a moment, please, to explain who you are and what you do, that would be great. How about we start with you, Katinka?
Oh, hi. I'm Katinka. Is that sounding weird from my end?
No, you're sounding fine.
Okay, cool. I'm Katinka. I work mainly with women, helping them create a visual brand for their businesses that help them show up online in a beautiful and authentic way. And it's across graphic design and photography. So I do headshots, brand photography, but also creating your brand guidelines and templates and stuff so that you can show up in a really consistent way online.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm excited to be here. Thanks for having me.
Oh, it's my pleasure. Julie, I'm sure most people will know you. You're a little bit more well-known in this online space. Share with us what you do.
Hi, everyone. It's gosh, what do I do? It's very late at night for me. So
And you've had a big day with your webinar as well.
I've had an enormous day, and I'm in the kitchen, and I've got my daughter in here, and it's all the end of the day for me. So what I do is I help women in business, particularly with the tech and the design, so that I teach them about that, and I can help them with that, and so that they produce branding that's beautiful and totally on target for them and connects with their audience. I'm sorry, I've still got my household in here, so it's live TV, folks. Honestly, anyway,
we're all business women. We're all business women. That is part of our lives. So I'm sure everybody on watching understands that. So today we've been speaking about Facebook, and I asked the question, how can we improve the quality of Facebook groups? How do you think branding can help with that?
I think with branding, what it does is actually help you be consistent. Now, I think that there's lots of benefits of being consistent. So you can, it means that you can save time, because like if you have even just a basic brand style guide, like just you've chosen your colors and your fonts, it means every time you go into to make a new graphic, you don't have to re-choose, how do I feel today, or what am I going to say today. It just makes it so much easier. That consistency, you don't have to think about it. I've already got those colors. I know what I'm going to use. I know what fonts I'm going to use. I don't have to think about that. So you cut down enormous amounts of time straight up. The second thing I think with the consistency is that it builds recognition. And so if you're in a group and you want to make a name for yourself, you keep on putting out the same kinds of things all the time, the same brand colors and the same fonts and the same kinds of things, you'll end up being recognized. And that's the whole aim of the game with branding. Well, not the entire game, but it's a fair chunk of it with branding is to create that recognition. And so if you do that, you're going to get recognized if you just keep on being consistent. So that's what I reckon.
If you follow on from what Julie said with all of that sort of stuff, and then you also use really on-brand images of yourself with your colors and what you do, a mixture of professional and selfie images online, people start to really connect and love you and know who you are. And so kind of it's that combination of using all of those elements together that kind of create that visual brand that really helps make you stand out online, and especially in Facebook groups and that sort of stuff, because people really start to recognize you. They'll see your stuff and they'll be like, oh, I know that person, before they even see who it is. So,
yeah. So we've established how important it is. What do you think is the biggest mistake that people are making with branding at the moment?
Not having their guidelines structured, not having templates they use for all their promo images, not having, not being consistent, like just being a bit hit and miss and throwing stuff together. And there's also that element of, when it's done by a professional, it's often just that little bit more smick. And often, we all start out somewhere, and we can't afford we can't afford to throw money everywhere. But people can kind of tell when you've done your own graphics. Like, maybe you need a little bit of a help to start with and some guidance, where Julie's great at giving you the Canva guidance and all that sort of stuff. But, having something set up for you so that you can then roll it out is really important, I think.
So you both offer look, I know that you both offer packages to create your branding and all of that. Before we get to that and have the money to invest, because we've all gone through startup and all of that, what is the one thing that you wish people would do online when they brand?
When they're brand stuff, I think first of all, I really hesitate to help people who are, I don't want them to spend money straight up. I think get your business sorted first a little bit. Have 6 months to a year of figuring out exactly what it is that you want to do. Sure, we all have a reasonably clear idea, especially in these groups where we're all doing something that we're really passionate about. We all want to know. We all know what we the general direction we're going, but I think we need to I certainly have changed direction. Even from when I started offering branding, I offered something completely different when I started, because it's a matter of understanding your audience better and really honing in on what they want. And because you're changing direction slightly, you'll end up with slightly different branding, to go with it, because, branding is about expressing something, what you're aiming for, and about expressing something of your personality, and also understanding what your audience is about. So once you have been in business for a little while, then you'll get to the stage where you are super clear on what direction you're going. You're super clear on your audience, and that's the time to spend money on branding. Because if you spend it on early on, then you'll get along a little bit and you'll go, oh, that's not really me. If you spent several $100s on getting your brand style guide and all this sort of, and templates and stuff, a year down the track you're just going to have to spend several more $100s doing it again. So I really hesitate to do that with people who are just starting. I prefer to work with them a bit later. So I reckon that's one mistake that people do make. And my pet hate is starting off with a logo. The logo is not the branding. That's just logo is just it's symbolic of your business, I'll give you the analogy of if you stick a Mercedes-Benz icon onto a VW, it's still a VW. It doesn't make it a Mercedes-Benz. So sticking a logo on everything doesn't make it your thing. It makes it just you've got something stuck on the top of it. So your branding's all the other stuff. It's about how you present yourself. It's how you speak. How all the touch points. It's what your business card looks like. There's so much of branding. That's what branding is.
So, Julie, that's just touch on that. So I have my line that I feel is getting fairly recognisable. How important is it, logo or branding, that it is that you actually are in touch with what you choose? I chose a line because when I was studying and finding out all my information and things like that, my black cat used to sit with me. So I didn't think a black cat was an appropriate thing to the VW and Mercedes thing. But I chose Align also because of the name, because I think it actually represents myself as well. So how important is it with personal branding and branding for those sort of things to align, that it does mean something for you, to you? What are your thoughts on that, ladies?
I think it's an interesting one, because I think when you start out, the brand you're trying to sell is yourself. And often online, you don't actually even show your logo in what you're posting in Facebook groups and on your socials. And so people putting a lot of emphasis on their logo kind of is a little bit, it's sort of going around a bit, being a bit backwards by the way that they're looking at it. I'm saying that, you know, it depends on your business as well. If your product business, like each kind of different kind of business has different things that are more the thing that becomes recognizable, I guess. So often it's the face that people recognize when it's a one person running a business. But your logo has an importance as well, but sometimes I think it gets a bit lost, if that makes sense. I don't know. You don't see it that often.
What do you think, though, about making brand, as you've both said, about a personal journey? How important is to align your branding with your personality?
Oh, totally. I think it's really important, because especially when we are, so many of us are solo. So many of us, we are our brand. And so if we are trying to present ourselves as something that we're not, well, you're destined to fall in a heap sooner or later. Like I never wear makeup, you know, I don't wear high heels. I don't do any of that kind of stuff. And if I started doing that, it would just feel contrived, and, you know, sooner or later I would slip. Sooner or later I would just end up doing something, you know, like if I'm building myself up to be this, you know, really beautifully groomed person with, you know, lots of makeup, and I'm always wearing a suit. If I keep on doing that, so people build up their idea, if that's what Julie's like, then sooner or later I slip, because I can't maintain that look, because it's just too much effort for me. I just can't do that. I couldn't do it consistently. And I just think, and the other thing is, I think people still really have a really, they've got an inbuilt radar. They can smell bullshit a mile off, really. I think if you keep on trying to present yourself as something you're not, people will just go, I'm sure that's not really her.
Yeah, I really think that bullshit radar is really important, and I think online we are learning that it's there, and to actually use that bullshit radar as well. So I think that's a really important point. What do you think, Katinka?
I think it's really important to be real, and not try to be something you're not. But obviously, it does depend on what industry you're in as well, I think, too. So I think if you are your business, then you need to be really real, and your logo really, really needs to represent you as a person and your values. But if your business is
not just your logo, but you're actually like your branding as a whole,
and your person, and like you need to be seen to be you. You need to be able to be recognised as what you are. You want people to be able to recognise you online, offline. You don't want someone to come up to you at a networking event, which I had recently, and I had to get my hair cut because I didn't look like what I was posting online. They're like, "Oh, is that you?" You don't want people doing that kind of thing to you. You don't want to be seen as the opposite of what you actually are. So I think
actually that comes up with another point, Katinka, about people using photos of themselves from, 6 years ago. When they had different hair and they were younger and slimmer or whatever it was, like that's the thing, especially with people who are solo in business, make sure that they have some up-to-date photos of themselves.
I had a classic example recently. Someone said that they had a stock image they were using everywhere on their website that was of a young-ish, maybe 25-year-old woman who looked nothing like them. And everyone thought that they actually looked like this, that this stock image was the person.
Yeah.
And they'd meet them in real life and they'd be like, "Oh, you don't look anything like that person." It's like, "Oh, no, that's a stock image."
Yeah, and it's true. Like I've seen people, like in the Facebook groups, you see these people having stock images on their ads and you go, that's not what they look like. Why are they using that photo? And I just, especially, there are some situations when you've got to, like, there's a close-up of the face, or there's that person doing something, they're being active and doing the thing that the person who's selling is actually also does. Like, there's a stock photo of someone giving a massage, or like, for an example, and you know that that's not them. And that strikes me as false too. Like, I just go, get some real photos.
Get some photos done, I think, is a big thing. Like, being unique. Like they say, content is king at the moment, and unique content is king. So being uniquely you is so important. And let's face it, photographs are such an easy way of showing that. If you've got professional photographs that look different to every other person who does the same thing as you, you're going to stand out as being different. If you've got the same stock photo with that everyone's seen everywhere, and they just go, that stock photo again, you just become just like everyone else who does what you do. So
totally. Don't go to the first page of Pixabay, right?
It's like it's like the sparkler girl with the green behind.
Oh, yeah, indeed.
And there's one that copywriters use all the time. I don't know why, of this girl, and I don't even understand why they use that, but I just see it everywhere.
Yeah.
That was on one of the first apps that came out as well, I think. What was it called? It was a phone app, wasn't it?
Oh, the sparkler.
Yeah. Yeah. It's really interesting because I think we started off with, and you both being professional at this may have lots to say about it. I think there's so many apps and things that we all think we can create branding by ourselves, and then do it yourself, like apps that we can all of a sudden do Canva images, but as you said, so can everybody else who's on that app or whatever. How important is it to actually stand apart from being to the easy do-it-yourself apps and help, like Lumen 5? It's my new favourite thing at the moment, by the way. But
yeah, I like Lumen 5 too. I think the thing is that because it's so easy, it's so democratic that anybody can do it. But the thing is that if it's that easy, it just means that people get lazy. And I mean, I still use Canva for some things. I do have Photoshop, but I mean, and of course I teach people how to use Canva as well. But I think people just get lazy because it's easy. Like I mean, with Lumen 5, you don't have to do anything. You just put in your URL and that's it, and you can spit out a thing at the end. And if you don't have enough photos, they'll stick in some stock photos for you. But the thing is, that's so totally off-brand for me. It doesn't take much extra effort to go and say, well, and understand what your brand is about and go, all right, I'm going to put in some extra photos that are my brand. And then I'll get a much better result. It doesn't take that much extra effort. It's like when I teach people about Canva, I teach them basic stuff like alignment. And I show them also how to get good stock photos, even from really free sites like Pixabay. My number one tip is don't sit on the number one page, and put in some better search terms. But yeah, it's a little bit of extra effort that you, and it's not that much extra effort. You don't have to spend hours and hours doing it. You just put a bit of extra effort, and you'll be way ahead of everybody else that doesn't do any work at all.
Yeah, just because it automates everything doesn't mean you should just let it do it.
No.
Yeah.
But there are tools, we have to use the tools, and there are so many tools there, and it's picking the ones that work for you and then using them well. So putting that extra 10 minutes in and picking the images that are on brand and using your own images, and then using Canva, but having someone explain the basic graphic elements or creating templates for you so that you always look like someone professional's done it. I think we definitely should use the tools, but just make sure it's on brand.
So is this where investment in services that you both offer similar and separate services, is this where we come to an expert like yourselves to actually get a brand guide created so we can take that and do it ourselves but in a more professional way?
I think that brand guides are important. They save you time. If you're a DIY person and you don't know what you're using from your fonts and your colours and your images, then every time you try to do it, you're just starting from scratch. The other reason that brand guides are important is when you get to that point where you start outsourcing to VAs or designers, or even when you're starting and you want your developer or your web person to look the same, do the same look and feel as your graphic designer, and you want your photographer to create the same kind of stuff as well. That's where brand guides are really useful. It's kind of teaching everybody else what your brand's about, as well as teaching yourself, I think.
Yeah. What do you think, Julie?
Yes. I think when it comes to spending money, like, you don't actually have to spend money to start off with. As I said before, when you're starting out, create your own brand style guide. And the thing is, you start with some keywords and think about what you would like your brand to feel like. For instance, my brand keywords are, vibrant and colourful, amongst other things. And so when you've got those keywords sorted for your own brand, what you want your brand to feel like, then you can use that to filter everything, and you can say, well, I want a bright and vibrant, colourful palette. So there you go. Like, go and find a palette that's that colour. You don't actually have to spend money to start off with. Just pick something. And the thing is, when you're starting out, just pick something, run with it. And it's not set in concrete. You can change it later if you have to, if you want to. And you can build on it too later if you have to, or if you want to. You can change it completely if you want to. So, but yeah, once you'll get to a point in your business and you know that as much as you've got this consistency to start off with, you get to a point in your business and you go, I really need to have some professional branding. I need to have, there's a quality issue there. If you're not design trained, and you'll get to that point in your business and you'll start to recognise the fact that you don't have the skills to do it. You don't have the skills to set up the templates. You don't have the skills to, create the website that you want. And there is a time that you really feel like it's definitely time to spend money.
And some people do have the skills. That's the thing. Like, there are people that can do it.
Totally.
That needs help. So it is about, and some people can't do that first step as well because they just don't have that kind of brain. It's all about knowing what your skills and where you need help too. So yeah, I think, like, if you're really not a designing person and you're starting a business, maybe you do get someone to start at the start to help you just a little bit. But if you've kind of got a little bit of an idea, then just go for it.
And be consistent with what you have.
You said about the consistency, Julie, and that you can change. I would like to, and you're both the experts, can we change our branding?
We can.
Is it advisable to change it when you're known so well as whatever you've created in the first 12 months? Does that have an effect, or no, you don't think it does?
Of course it has an effect, but the thing is, if you if your original branding is not feeling aligned to what you're doing, there's that energy aspect of it. Like, if you keep on putting out stuff that you're not happy with, that will somehow translate into what you're putting out. And if you get branding that you totally love and it just feels exactly right for you, then that will translate into this beautiful energy coming through into your graphics. You'll be, there's something about it that translates, something about that enthusiasm that translates. And it's the same with words. I mean, we all know that you can listen to someone who's passionate about their what they're talking about, and they're much more interesting to listen to than someone who feels like they have to say what they have to say. You know what I mean? Yeah.
And I think, brands change as well. I do know at the moment there's like a lot of people talking about launches. So it's like rebrand and then launch it. So there are ways of kind of doing it and creating creating momentum around you changing a brand. But also, like, look at Coca-Cola, for example, which is a massive brand we all know. They've changed. They just change in small steps, and they do it constantly to keep up with what's going on. So it's about also how you change too, I think.
I think it's about also bringing your audience along with you on the journey. If you're going to do a massive rebrand and change direction, you will probably lose some people that love you for your old brand, but you'll gain new people because you if you let your existing audience know that you are changing, now a lot of them will still come along with you on the journey because they still like you. But if you become much more aligned with where you want to go, it comes back to that enthusiasm. You'll pick up much more people, many more people, because of that. You're much more passionate about the new direction, of course. So
it reminds me pretty much that, stop trying to, include everybody and include your tribe, and, you'll have tribe along with you. So it's very important. So when people have come to you and they're going to start their branding guide and they're at that stage where they're really excited that they want to create a brand with a professional, what do you tell them? What should they be ready with? What should they come with? What information do they need?
They need to be clear on what their business is and who they're serving. That's my number one tip.
Mm-hmm. Mine too.
Having an idea of where they're going and the kind of people they're trying to attract really helps. If you just want a brand, and that's why, for the first bit, it's just worth trying something, because if you pick a brand that, like if you think you're all colourful and it's all about fun and vibrant, and then you're actually selling something that doesn't fit that, then the brand is going to be off. So you really need to know what you're trying to sell and who you're trying to sell to, and the age they are and what they like, what they don't like. Otherwise you're selling to nobody, basically.
I decided, because I was a coach, that I needed a mandala, because everybody was having mandalas, and I kept coming up with it. Could you imagine me with a mandala? I'm not a, person that puts out Zen or anything out there. So, and it was really important to actually sit with who I was as well and how I was represented. What do we have to look at in branding? Like, what do we come to you and go, what do we need? What is a brand? If I'm coming to either of you, what do I need to actually have a total brand?
Branding is basically everything that is the essence of your business. Like, it's the logo sits in the middle, but it's all the elements, all your visual elements, your written elements, the way that your mission. I don't like mission so much, but it's what the core value, and then it's how you show it to the world. So through your written and your visuals, that's kind of what a brand is about. But it also evolves, I think, and they can change.
Yeah.
But what are the actual physical elements of it? Is it, Julie, I know that you start off with helping people with Canva. Katinka, you take headshots as well. What does a branding portfolio consist of?
For me, I give them, not only I choose the colours and fonts for them. Like, there's a whole process involved. I interview them, give them some drafts, and we have a consultation process about it. So we really, really get clear on exactly who and what. So there's colours, there's fonts, there's a image style guide, there is keywords, there is an information on how to use it, there's a summary of their business. This is what I would do for my clients when they come to me. I really don't like designing logos first up. It has to be pretty exceptional for me to do that. The logo always comes second for me. I do the brand style guide first, because I think it's really important to get the essence of the brand sorted first.
And does that include aligning it with the person as well, Julie?
Sorry?
So that would include aligning it with the person you're creating it for. So
totally, yeah. So I do ask them questions about not only their business. Thank you, daughter. I ask them questions about their business and particularly about who their audience is and where they see their business going in 5 years, 10 years. I also just ask them personal questions about what sorts of things do they like just even movies and what kinds of aesthetic things that they like, and that way I get a really, there's tons more questions, but there's I try and hone in on who they are as a person, as well as what their business is about and who their audience is. In some ways, I really feel like their service that they're providing is kind of secondary to what I'm doing for them. It's about, it's more about all the personalities involved, really.
Yeah. Katinka, what does that actually?
So I sort of do it slightly differently. So because I'm photography based, and I will start with what I call a mood board. So it's all about picking some images that really pick their customers' pain points. So visually you can see what their pain points are, and then also kind of more of a color. The colours and the schemes, and then images that kind of show the feel of their brand and kind of use their colours and their visual style. And then I will usually work on your logo elements if you're needing a logo done, and what fonts and colours will be used as part of that. And then you would do the photography that's needed. That's your own custom photography versus the stuff we originally picked in the mood board. So kind of, I guess we maybe approach it from a slightly different way, but I guess we end up at the same spot.
It's just your design aesthetic as well. I mean, that's why people would choose to work with Julie or you, Katinka, that's your design aesthetic, and you both have your clients as well. But what can I use it for? So we know we can create Canva images. What else does actual branding include? Websites?
Yep, so you need to run it across your website.
It can be used for everything. In terms of your brand, in touch points that every interaction you have with your audience. So that's everything. It's how you present yourself on camera. It's how it's what your business card looks like. It's the words that you use when you're writing copy. It's everything. So if you have a good brand style guide, you can filter everything that you put out into the world. You filter it through your brand style guide. Yeah. And just align it.
Yeah, and it's also how you present yourself in person with people too, and what you do print wise. So if you're doing flyers, the kind of images you create for your website. If you want to do flat lays using kind of things you like, is a great way of adding visual content to social media and that sort of stuff. Kind of showing your story through your visuals, I guess, as well, is all part of it.
I'm glad you brought up branding of face-to-face, because I think it's important that we don't only brand ourselves face-to-face and even brand ourselves on lives like this or photos. What are some tips that you can give people to carry their brand through to business cards and to actually present themselves? Like, Julie, you're well known for your green scarf.
I've actually got a few different green scarves, actually. There you go.
Pavlovsky has an awesome dress so when she's presenting, she will often present with, her dress that she has. I have a friend that has these fabulous green shoes that if she's presenting or something that she always wears. What are the tips you can give us there?
Well, so I've got a jewellery range, which also confuses what I do, but I get known for my earrings, which are all using my photography. So that's a conversation starter. I've got, I don't know if you know, Lucas loves cars. She wears tops that have cars and skirts that have cars. You can wear the colours of your brand. You can just wear a highlight of the colour, so a bit like Julie's green scarves. Mind you, do you have green in your, I guess you have green in your brand. I can't remember what your brand looks like. I often wear blue because my brand is blue. I'm not wearing it today. You can wear just the colours in your earrings. I don't know if Kate did this on purpose, but her dress she's wearing on her Facebook on her website, like, uses all the colours of all her brands. It's quite cute.
Who was that, sorry?
That's Kate Tune.
Yeah.
Yeah, so she's really about personal branding now.
I was going to say also Elle Roberts and Katie White had the Lady Boss Project, and they made T-shirts with hashtags. And so a lot of us got hashtag T-shirts with a hashtag that was good for our brand. And so I got Visual Genius, which is, I love it. It's so fun. So that's sort of, like, there's all sorts of things you can do, in terms of the way you dress.
Yeah. So very popular now too, I guess, is the none of us have them, but the
backdrops.
The backdrops.
What are our thoughts on backdrops and the important? Are they important to branding, or to also again?
I'm in two minds about backdrops a little bit, because I always thought they were really important, but then some people say that it becomes more real if you've got kind of random backdrops behind what you're doing in a live setting. So always doing it in front of a backdrop becomes a little bit institutionalized. Like, I can only do a live if I'm in front of my backdrop. So I think it kind of there's a place for both. But having a nice backdrop, I hope mine's kind of okay today, helps, because you look more professional that way. But sometimes it's hard, so... Yeah.
Look, I've seen some beautiful backdrops, but I don't think you need to spend money. Again, I don't think you need to spend money on a backdrop. Like, I mean, I'm in my kitchen. This is my wall, and I have a picture there, and that's my backdrop. And I always try and sit here because that's just that's another consistency thing. And yes, the picture is of flowers as well, so that's all kind of fits with what I do anyway. So I don't think you need to spend money on a backdrop. I think they're lovely, and I think that they certainly have a role. I love the fact that, if you have a mess in your house, you can just stick it up behind you and you can't see the mess. So that's great for people who work from home, especially, and that it's portable too. I mean, I'm just thinking about Emma Vega Malta's backdrops. They're lovely, and you can pack them up and. So, just put them up anywhere and take a couple of minutes to put up, and then the paper is you've got a backdrop. They have a place, but they're not entirely necessary.
Yeah.
Okay. Because making sure you look at what your background is, and don't have
definitely.
Someone's, like, a person in the background that's got their bottom on your head or something, or make sure you look what's behind you before you start.
Yeah, like, don't have your vacuum cleaner in the background, or the pile of dirty washing or something like that. Don't have your ironing board there, that kind of thing. Be aware of what's in your background, but you don't actually have to have like a proper painted backdrop on a stand. That's not as important.
And I think in the scheme of things, you're better off doing a video than spending all your time thinking about your background as well. So just doing it is more important than not doing it.
Right. So your number one tip for people doing face-to-face, what should they carry off for their branding, so to know that they're from online to face-to-face? What is one thing that you can suggest that people are seeing as the same thing, like be aligned?
Well, making sure you look like the same way as you do online helps. So if you've had your hair bleached and all your photos are dark, then you need to update all your online touch points to make sure that you look the way you look in real life. I think it's hard. Number one tip, I think that's my number one tip. Otherwise, it really is, every scenario is a bit different. And being quirky about it is good too.
Mm-hmm. And be yourself. Don't try and be something that you're not.
Nobody else can do you as well as you can do yourself.
That's right. Right.
So, Julie, you run courses and challenges.
Yep.
Why should someone out there something to offer in the challenges and stuff, especially in the startup stage? How can it help them?
The challenges, I really feel, I think we've all been there. Like, to start off with, we don't know anything much, and we just need all the help we can get. And I just see, I really want to help people just get off that that point where they don't know, because it's like there's so much stuff out there, and it all ends up being overwhelming. And I just want them to help them present themselves in a way that helps them stand out and get that first step up. So I want them to, get them off that, going into Canva and spending 5 minutes and putting something out. I want them to be more purposeful. Confidence. I think that I want them to think better about what they do, think more clearly about what they do, and I want them to present themselves better and be more confident. Yeah.
Take away the fear of being visible in that form, pretty much.
I think that if you're not feeling confident about how you present yourself, that it sucks energy. Like it doesn't. People don't get attracted to that. People get attracted to the confidence. And so if you are more confident, if you have something lovely to put out, and you're happy about putting that out, then it kind of builds on itself.
Mm-hmm. Katinka, and so at the moment you've got an event also that runs for headshots. So for people who can't, because portraits and things like that, branding portraits for businesses can run into quite a lot of money. So yes. So with your headshots and stuff, what's important about that for startup businesses?
Well, so I've thought about I've been thinking about this all year, but I've actually now got one locked in, doing a headshot day where you get 5 images that you can use. A couple of them will be headshots, a couple will be things you might be able to use on different pages of your website, and just have a bit of content. And it's at a low price, so anyone can do it. Because often people get sort of scared about photography, that they think it needs to be perfect, when in actual fact you want it to look like you. You should probably do your hair, maybe put a little bit of makeup on, but you don't want to look glamazon. Like, you don't want to look different to what you are. So you may as well just be real, and you look like you are who you are. So own it. And I don't like photos of myself, but that's what I look like. So, I've just got to put them out there. So, I'm doing these days so people can get some new headshots, or get some images if they haven't got any, that it's not going to cost them a fortune, but they'll get some really nice stuff at the end of it. And then if they want, if people want larger packages with a lot more images that they can, so they have a lot more stuff to use on their websites and Facebook and across, especially Instagram, then I do larger packages as well.
But that sort of thing is actually possibly even more of an investment when people are further along in business. Is that what you'd suggest? Like Julie was saying that she often doesn't suggest websites, Julie, until people are further along in business. Am I right that they're bigger packages you can actually wait for?
You can. It's all about a lot of people struggle to know what to post, especially if you're in a service business. And so I guess getting a package like this, you're going to get 20, 30 images that you can now start posting all over the place that you're confident in. So sometimes spending the money up front means that you actually start showing up, versus being like, I don't know what to post, especially in Instagram. Like, I do a lot of Instagram because I'm very visual, and I have a visual product line, and because I'm into photography and all that sort of stuff. So in Instagram, it can be quite scary. It's like, what do I post? So if you get a big package like this, suddenly you have a whole lot of stuff that you can post, and you can, you don't have to think about it all the time. And you mix that in with, stuff that you've sourced that you then credit other people for, and stuff that you put, like, quotes or your promo stuff, and suddenly you have quite a lot of content that will last you quite a long time. So it kind of depends. Obviously, if you don't want to spend money where you don't have it, but if you have it, sometimes it's at the start, or at least sort of at 6 months or a year mark, because it gives you something to post.
Julie, when is the time to get a website or start thinking about a website and getting somebody to help you?
Well, that would depend on where you are in your business, because let's face it, getting a website made is a big investment of money. So certainly not in your first year. Not until you're, as I said before, until you're super clear on where you're going with your business and what you want to do with it and who you're serving. It's really hard to pinpoint a time. It's more about, I think it's more about where people are in their mindset towards their business, and as I said, being very clear about where they are and who they're serving, all that kind of stuff. So it could be anywhere between. Yeah, sorry.
No. So I have a question for both of you. So I'm very set in my branding. I like it. I love it. My website myself. Don't anybody go to it because it's just up there because I own the name and all of that sort of stuff. But those of us who are established in who we are, how can you help us become better at what we do? So better brand ourselves. So we come to you with all the information. Are you able to polish? Are you able to, polish what we do?
You definitely.
There's always some things to do. There's always things to improve. Not to say that what you have already is good, is perfect for you right now, but in terms of your future direction as well, I think that is something that needs to be looked at. And you can certainly change things around so that it's more pointed towards that future direction and polish it even better. None of us are Denise Duffield-Thomas. We don't have that kind of a polish to our brands. Yeah. We're not Beyonce. We don't have that kind of polish. What I'm saying is there's always room to move up. There's always more polish to give to it. There's always more expansive things we can do.
So you help people who are starting out with creating this, wherever they are in business, they decide they need your help, Julie. So people who are established in their business can also come to you for help.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I'm really focused on the startups because I know how so firsthand exactly how that feels and how hard it is to get that first those first few steps, because you just feel like you're stuck on this merry-go-round. Nobody's looking at me because I have crappy things to look at and therefore I'm not making any money and I don't have any money to spend on making myself look better. So there's kind of there's a vicious cycle of you're kind of stuck in this little, merry-go-round, and it's so hard to pull yourself out of it. So I really want to help people step up out of that.
What about you, Katinka? Thank you, Julie. What about you, Katinka? What can you do to help establish brands out?
So I probably work, I kind of work a little more with people that are maybe changing direction or are at the point that they really want to create a brand rather than a logo for their business. And that can be, and this is where it gets really complicated because it's easy to say that a startup won't do that, but some startups will. It doesn't mean you have to. So it's all about what you value, but also what your area of expertise are as well. So, some people just have a natural ability with design and like it. So they spend all their time and effort doing that, and they actually can do it themselves. And they might need some help along the way, but it doesn't mean they need someone to come in and do it for them. And then there's someone else who has absolutely no idea, but might be amazing at writing or amazing at something else. And they just really need, even from the first, the first day, they need someone to help them with it. So I think I'm all about kind of getting people the confidence to want to show up and help them if they're struggling visibly. So that's often when people sort of decide for whatever reason that they're either niching a bit more or they realize that what they've done isn't really working for them and they just want that extra bit of help. But I also work with people who've just started as well. So it's more kind of I think it's what people value and where their expertise lie to whether or not I can help them.
You are able to help people wherever they are in business. Just before we wrap up, I want to touch on just a couple of things. So with stock images, Do you suggest people creating their own library?
I think in this day and age, you need to start your own stock library. And I'm a photographer, so like that's really, that's one of my big things. But I think if you want to be unique and you want to be seen and you want to be different, you need to use images that aren't seen everywhere. And they don't always have to be done by professionals, but I think it's a bonus to have at least some of that sort of stuff mixed in. Recently, I talked to somebody who does Bali retreats, and she had all these images of Bali that she's done. And by having all of that stuff in her Facebook feed, it gave her personality where if she just had a whole lot of stock images of Bali, she just looked like every other, every tourist site in Bali, and like she wouldn't have had that character. So her images were hers, but they gave her business character, I guess. So just, I think, start using images and get a professional to take some images for you and get your face in front of people and use your own stuff. Don't use stuff that 5 million other people have used.
Julie, what's your opinion?
We have access to we've all got good phones these days. Most of them have really good cameras on them. I think just get out there and start taking photos and add that into your stock image library. In terms of using, the photos from stock photo sites, you can still do that, but you need to be a bit more judicious about how you go about collecting them. Don't just pick things that are easy to get to, because if they're easy to get to, everybody else is using them too. You can rest assured. I have seen so many stock photos, Katinka was saying, the girl with the sparkler, like we've seen it so many times, like hundreds, and everybody uses it, and you think, why can't you just spend 5 more minutes and go and find something better? But so use better search terms and dig into don't just go to Pixabay. There's tons of stock photo sites out there that you just need to much smaller ones where they've got different photos. Just go and search better.
I use Nora Wendell. She's out of the Heartsend group. She does it.
Yes.
She does an awesome bundle every month.
I know. I use Nora's photos too. They're low cost. They're not very expensive. Like, $15 for a pack of 30 photos. That's not much.
And she asks you each month what ideas you have about them. So they're all, look, I love them. Thank you.
Her stuff's really good, and I use some of that as well. Like, I think there's a purpose for stock images, but as Julie said, look for stuff that's not just used everywhere. And as long as it's on brand, you can use stuff that's been used as well. Just, don't just pick it because everybody else uses it, I guess.
So before we go, I would love to hear it, just to let our viewers know and anybody who watches this on the YouTube channel. Julie, you have had a webinar today. I know people still can sign up for the replay. Is that correct?
Yep. I'll be sending the replay out. I've actually sent out, but I'll send it out again. That's no worries at all. Sign up and they can get.
Do you want? Can you put the link in this post after we ask anyone who wants to join it? That would be great. So let us know why people would come to you in a statement of what you provide. Why do people come to you?
Because I can guide them, as well as it's not like I just give them a brand palette and a the fonts. I actually guide them to use it. I talk them through their brand. I give them insights into their brand. They walk away. They have the support from me. They know that I can teach them how to use things. I can help them set up templates. So I've got a good range of skills. I can give it to them and show them how to do it too.
The webinar and your intensive's coming up, am I right?
The Gorgeous Graphics Intensive. That's an 11-day program that's coming up on the 25th of May. 25th of May it starts. And so, we go through actually all sorts of things. We show them how to talk to their ideal audience, show them how to figure out who they are, how to connect with them. We cover some of their branding. I show them how to use Canva templates and set all of that up. And so actually creating graphics that are clickable.
So you will share your page and all of the details that we've spoken to today. So if anyone wants to connect with you, they can just jump on a link or private message you as well. Katinka, you've got an awesome headshot day coming up. When is that?
It's the 6th of June in Footscray in Melbourne. So if you are thinking you need a headshot, then it's $130 and you get 5 images and you can come along and have a bit of fun. And I can put that link in the underneath as well when we finish. And then otherwise, I basically, my thing is I really like working with people when we're talking about their brand and giving them the confidence and kind of making sure that they do love it and it speaks to them. Often a branding person will be like, this is your brand, and you're like, I don't like it. So obviously there's a component of trusting me as well. But yeah, I really like having conversation and talking about target audience and really what you like and the kind of colours you like and the things you like. That's why the mood boards play a big part. You sign off on that and then we kind of work from there in what we do.
So in the comments, you'll share all that information that people can jump on your page if they want to connect with you as well as well as the event. I have got one question before we go. Sorry, and Katinka, how do you choose a graphic designer? Because my husband and I wasted a lot of money because we joined with a graphic designer who did not fit with us. What is it that you should connect with your graphic designing?
Can I just say, don't go to Fiverr.
I didn't go. I went to some. Anyway, I can't continue the conversation where I went because that would be very unethical of me. It wasn't appropriate. Let's just move on, shall we? But anyway, so ladies, if anybody's got questions for you, please don't, on the free service and there's free advice, please don't ask for free advice from the ladies. They do offer services. They're great value, trust me. But I'm sure if they've got any questions, they can jump on the comments and ask you.
Can I just answer the question about how you find a graphic designer? Because it's visual, you need to look at their style. So some people are really illustrative, and if that's something that you love and all of their stuff is really illustrative, then that's what you're going to get. I do a lot of kind of more vector graphics. So my logos are much more vector, and they're not illustrating, and they're not a watercolor graphic. So look at what they've done. Look at the photography style they use. And if they do stuff you like, they'll probably be able to create something that you want.
Yeah, beautiful. All right, on that, I am going to say thank you. There's people out there who really, there's so many comments in there that are people loving the conversation and everything we've discussed. So I thank you both for coming on the second episode of Biz Bestie TV. You ladies can share the link if you like. It will be up on YouTube on my channel next week. Please keep going in the comments. So the comments are obviously this side on my computer, but please keep writing in the comments and asking the ladies questions, and if you'd like to book their services, their links will also be in the comments. So ladies, I'd like to thank you. It's been
great
awesome.
fun. It's been really good fun.
Thanks for having us.
It was my pleasure, and thank you both for putting your hand up, coming on. So it's very exciting. Next week we have the week on self-care, which we have the amazing Leah Kearns, Romana Lilly, and Sunita Pamal, all talking about self-care in business and life. So that will be an awesome conversation. There will be 4 of us. So it might be a little bit mad for me to learn the technology. I hopefully have added all your comments in the chat box as we've been speaking. So for me, that's good night. Good night, Julie. Good night, Katinka, and thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.